in General Art 2 class of Oreilly Senior High School. The topic for discussion today is the factors affecting the rate of photosynthesis, as already written on the board. But before we begin with this, I would like us to have a fair idea of what photosynthesis really is. Now, all living organisms have the ability to feed, but unlike animals, plants make and use their own food through a process called photosynthesis. Therefore, photosynthesis is a process by which green plants manufacture their own food using inorganic raw materials such as carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight, which is trapped from the atmosphere by the chlorophyll of leaves and releases glucose and oxygen as end product. This can be seen through a chemical equation, which I'll be writing on the board. We get to know that in the presence of carbon dioxide and water and sunlight trapped by the chlorophyll, glucose and oxygen is produced as end product of photosynthesis. Now back to the factors affecting the rate of photosynthesis. We have carbon dioxide concentration, chlorophyll concentration, and light intensity. With carbon dioxide concentration, the rate of photosynthesis increases with an increase in the rate of carbon dioxide concentration. So considering this equation where carbon dioxide concentration affects the rate of glucose that will be produced, let's say we have carbon dioxide concentration being 100 kilograms. Glucose here might be 50 kilograms, but with a carbon dioxide concentration as low as 50 kilograms. Glucose produced here might be 25 kilograms. This shows that an increase in the carbon dioxide concentration reflects an increase in glucose which we produce at the end of photosynthesis. Now, considering carbon dioxide concentration too, an increase in the carbon dioxide concentration does not always affect the rate of photosynthesis. This is because when there is high carbon dioxide concentration, photosynthesis ceases, and the rate remains constant. So at a rate of carbon dioxide concentration ranging between 0.03% to 0.04%, which is equivalent to 300 to 400 parts per million. Any increase in carbon dioxide concentration does not in any way affect the rate of photosynthesis. So with this range, let's say the rate of carbon dioxide concentration is increased to 450 parts per million. It won't in any way affect the rate of photosynthesis since the rate will remain constant. Now taking chlorophyll concentration. Fresh green plants like this have a high rate of chlorophyll concentration. Hence, they are able to trap maximum light needed for photosynthesis. Hence, the rate of photosynthesis increases. But with variegated leaves like this is a variegated leaf. When we say a variegated leaf, we mean a leaf which have parts containing chlorophyll and parts lacking chlorophyll. So with this leaf, we can see that there are yellow patterns and green patterns. The yellow patterns depict the absence of chlorophyll, but the green patterns show the presence of chlorophyll. So comparing these two leaves, we'll conclude that this leaf will have a high rate of photosynthesis and this variegated leaf will have a low rate of photosynthesis. Now to our third point, that's light intensity. The rate of photosynthesis increases with an increase in the rate of light intensity. Now during the process of photosynthesis, lights which are generated are red, blue and green lights. Both red and blue light are absorbed by the leaves of plants, and green light is reflected, hence the green color of leaves of plants. Now we have a question here which says that a plant A is placed in a room by the window and plant B is placed in the open field. Assuming all other factors remain constant, that's the same amount of carbon dioxide and water, which plants will have a high rate of photosynthesis? Why? And explain your answer. I'll use a diagram to explain this. Now we have two diagrams here. We take this as plant A and this as plant B. Now, considering plant A, because it is placed beside a window, the window will block the rays of sunlight from reaching the leaves. Hence, there will be a limited supply of sunlight to the leaves, reducing the rate of photosynthesis. But in plant B here, since it is placed in an open field, it's exposed to maximum sunlight. Hence, the chlorophyll of leaves will be able to trap the right amount of sunlight for photosynthesis, hence increasing the rate of photosynthesis. So considering these two plants, plant B will have a high rate of photosynthesis. So another question which says, the higher the temperature, the higher the rate of photosynthesis. Is this statement always true? Explain. Now I'll use a diagram to explain this. to know that temperature ranging from 0 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius starts the process of activating the enzymes for photosynthesis. So at this stage, the enzymes are not fully activated, but as the temperature increases from 20 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius, which is known as the optimum temperature for photosynthesis, the enzymes are fully activated. Hence, there is a high rate of photosynthesis. But at this point, which is 40 degrees Celsius and above, this temperature is too high for the activities of enzymes for photosynthesis. Hence, the enzymes are denatured. If you say they are denatured, we mean these enzymes for photosynthesis contain protein. And as the temperature increases, it destroys these proteins of the enzymes, therefore denaturing the enzymes. So at a rate of temperature ranging from 40 degrees Celsius and above, there is a decrease in the rate of photosynthesis. So the statement which says the higher the temperature, the higher the rate of photosynthesis is not always true. Now, photosynthesis is needed for the survival of animals, since animals depend on the end product of photosynthesis, thus glucose and oxygen, for survival. Animals feed on glucose, which is stored in the tubers and leaves of plants, and use oxygen for respiration. This is the end of the discussion for today. Thank you.